Catch Texas in Color every Wednesday morning at 11 a.m. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. All right, good morning, everybody, and what a wonderful morning we're having. You knew that the weather was going to change, and it changed for the best. But I'm telling you right now, it may change for the best. But we got a hot contest going on. Joining
Yeah.
us is Summer Brown Ellis, candidate for place 7 at large, Cibolo City Council. And this is a runoff election. Good morning, Summer.
Good morning. Thank you so much, Ronald. I am honored to be a guest again on your show.
And we are honored to have you here once again. And we're going to start off big. We're just going to start off. We're going to go right into the gates. Question, and I talk about this to everybody. Why do local elections matter so much?
Well, what some people may or may not know, local elections shape our daily life. Like everything you do from when you wake up, you turn that water on to when you go to sleep at night, you turn that light off, right? So the city council kind of decides how your tax dollars are spent and what developments get approved and how our roads and drainage is maintained and our parks and public safety departments, how they operate, how we pay them and give them increases, benefits and things like that. City council has everything to do with that type of stuff. Yeah.
Mm.
And because local elections are often decided by only a few votes, your vote is powerful here, more than any better, more powerful than any other election. It shows that you care about your city functions. It shows that you care what happens to your tax dollars, and who's speaking on your behalf. So
And,
it's
and
important.
speak, and speak about speaking on behalf. There's a lot of people don't really understand what the council do. They just think you just get up there and da 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 da, and that's it. So a lot of residents say they really don't understand what the city council does. How would you describe its role?
So City Council manages number one, the city budget. It oversees infrastructure. It supports our police and fire services. It also sets zoning and development rules. And it guides long term planning for the city. And the council's decisions kind of directly affect the quality of life for every resident that lives here in Cibolo. So there are some things I'd like to point out. The city council approves the city budget, and every year they have an opportunity for the residents to come in and see what that budget looks like. I went this year, and it was so amazing. They break out where all the tax dollars are going, and it's a really great presentation. I would recommend folks in Cibolo to go and see. We also oversee infrastructure like the streets, the sidewalks, and the drainage issues and mobility issues around the city. They have to work closely with TxDOT on specific highways and streets within Cibolo. We also, I say we, like I've already won, but I just have faith that I'm going to win. So the council sets zoning rules for housing and commercial development. Also guides economic growth and business attraction. Bringing small businesses here, keeping our city very quaint, like we wanted that small town feel. Also, they make sure that safety through the police and fire department and things like that are taken care of. We encourage transparency, accountability, and community involvement as well. There are ways that you can get involved. There are boards, there's commissions and things that you can serve on to kind of know what's going on. And most importantly, represents the residents in all matters related to city operations. So council's decisions build the roadmap for the city's future. So that is what they do, and that is why it's so important to vote.
Yeah, well, since you said that, now, Summer, I want to talk to you about the runoff. You're currently in a runoff election in Cibolo. What exactly is a runoff?
Ooh, runoff. Man, I was trying really hard. I got very close. I think I won by like 900 votes and at 41 something or 42%. But unfortunately, in our state, a runoff happens when no candidate earns 50% of the vote, which can happen when you have more than more than two candidates running. We had four in this one, so I knew that potentially this would happen. But even if one person receives the highest percentage, which I did, um, um, the state law still requires the true majority to win, and that's definitely 50.1%. So the two top candidates move forward, kind of giving voters a chance to make a final decision, to ensure that the winner is supported by more than half of the voters participating, which is a lot, y'all, because typically in runoff elections, they're a very, very low voter turnout. We really, really, really encourage people to continue to participate until the end, especially if they want a specific candidate. You got to go vote. And then, a runoff election means you got to come out again. So it's important to do that. So 41% was great. That was great, but it just wasn't enough to win outright.
Mm. So help voters understand. Now, you just went over, you won by 41%. Some people are asking, if you already won by 41%, why do we still need a runoff? Now, if y'all want my opinion, I'll give you my opinion before you answer, Miss Summers. My opinion is this. It's almost like giving somebody a second chance to win, even though they lost by a lot. It's almost like the system is stacked. So if your favorite candidate didn't win and lost by 900 something votes, but yet you're having a runoff. And you
Mhm.
see, my opinion is if you want it fair and square, it's done. But Texas
Right.
is one of the few states that you got to have 51% in order to have that runoff. So I'll let you go ahead and answer that. I have to throw my little 2 cents in there.
No, no, that was a great question, and I truly believe it's just so desperately unfair. But that is the way that it is, and it is. It's kind of like that sixth place ribbon that a particular generation. We're receiving the brunt of that right now. Those sixth place ribbon types, and folks are getting a second chance at it, able to kind of, I guess, get their game up and come back. But that is a great question. So receiving 41% kind of shows strong support, and I'm grateful for that. But because no one reached that 50, it's 50% plus one vote. That's what it's not 51%, it's 50% plus one vote. The race has to go on, right? So runoffs don't erase the lead. They simply ensure that the final winner has the majority support. So it's about giving voters a clear two candidate choice to kind of finish the process, right? Although I'm with you, Ron. I feel the way that you do. A win is a win, and not just by 2, 3 votes. It was 900 votes. So I think that that's a clear majority, but that's not how the rules work. So
Mhm.
we need to continue on and finish it out.
So, what is your message for voters?
Um, the message hasn't changed much because your voice now your voice mattered then, but it really, really matters now. And so does your vote. Learn the issues and kind of stay engaged what's going on. There are things right now that are currently on the table involving, water rights for Cibolo and things like that. Participate in how the future is being shaped here in Cibolo. And it's going to take all of us, right? Because Cibolo works best when all of us take part. And personally, being a veteran, I'm going to I'm going to be coming to my veteran community. We all possess a leadership ability that is not often found in other places. And I think that I always tell people, veterans, we're just different. We see things different. We've been in different situations that kind of shape the type of people that we are now. And I think that that leadership that lives here in Cibolo, I'm going to be calling on you, asking you, hey, come join these boards, come join this. We need your advice, to move the city forward. So I really want people to know that. Um, Learn the issues, stay engaged, and Cibolo works best when all of us take part.
Yeah, I want to take a moment to say thank you for your service. There's not too many people that go around and say thank you for your service, and I do it all the time. So I want to
Mm.
let you know that we're thinking about you.
Yes.
Besides voting, what is another way residents can get more involved in shaping Cibolo?
Hmm. So, like I mentioned earlier, the boards and commissions, they rely on everyday residents, planning and zoning, parks and rec, economic development, bond committees, all of these things need community voices. So, that's the way you can get involved. Also, serving is a powerful way to influence the direction of growth, policy making and the quality of life in our city. Volunteerism, which is something that I've done. I primarily stayed in the school district because I had children, I had athletes. So I stayed close to athletes, and I did spend a lot of time volunteering there since 2013. Um, but volunteerism is a civic engagement, and it helps to build a strong city. And if we get everybody involved, especially the leaders, i.e., the veterans that are in our community, I think we can accomplish that, and we can continue to help build this strong city.
This next question, I have to ask this because it takes a person with integrity. It takes a person to get strong convictions. So my question to you, why did you decide to run?
Well, I ran because I believe in service to community and transparency in that service, as well as thoughtful growth. And as a veteran and a community advocate, I want to ensure that decisions are made responsibly and the residents are at the center. People can be swayed by money and the business side of things, but the most important thing that we have here in our city are the residents. So Cibolo is growing, and we need leadership that listens, that can collaborate, and plan for both today as well as the future.
That's true. So how has it with navigating this election been for you personally?
Hmm. It has been challenging. It has been challenging, however, inspiring and humbling. I've gone into different subdivisions, and I've come across a lot of families, and I like to listen to what matters to them most. I get text messages almost daily because I put a text message phone number out there to kind of talk to people if they ever have questions, and they ask those questions. And and I remind them, that city council is what it's about. It's about the roads. It's about things like that. Some people ask a lot of personal questions of me, and and I don't get into that because it doesn't involve safety, roads, transparency, and responsible development of our city. And I just kind of, hey, let's come back to the middle and what's important. This journey has really strengthened me and my commitment to represent our community with integrity and professionalism. And I know I can do that.
I,
Yeah.
I like that. I like that. Moving away from personal issues has nothing to do with the business of the city. And a lot of people want to drag people in that direction. But if you sit there and just, nope, we're not talking about that. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm focused on.
Yeah.
So,
And it's
it,
similar to the military. I'm mission focused. Did
mhm.
I always agree with everything that we were doing? Absolutely not. But this is the mission, and we say what we need to say behind closed doors, and then guess what? We go out and we execute
Well, we know we
professionally.
can't please everybody. That's the bottom
Right.
line. Everybody can't be pleased with your choices that you make. You look
Right.
at the big picture and you make the decision on that. Some's gonna like it, some's not. You know.
Yeah.
All right, finally, you're currently in a runoff. When is the
Mhm.
last day for people that they can vote?
All right. So, what I would encourage is get out there today. Get out there today between 8 and 5. If you're there after 1, you'll see me there holding my sign. If you'd loved it, I'd love to shake a hand, talk to you. I'm a hugger too, whatever, whatever. But today from 8 to 5, and then the next time you can vote and final time you can vote is election day, which is this Saturday, and I'll see you out there as well, December 13th. And early voting, so the polls, I believe, is 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. on Saturday. And like I said, the runoff turnout is usually pretty low. And I think the last count, we were like at 300 something. I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my goodness. um, which which means your vote carries more weight now than it did in the general election. So please make your voice count. I brought out about 1,800 of you guys, and I would love that same number to pop up again. It kind of shows me that you care and you're engaged and things like that. Um, if not, I'm at Walmart and HEB every single day, talking to people, passing out cards, reminding people that we're in a runoff election. And I think I probably may have gotten maybe 100 votes from that alone, to be honest, because people just simply didn't know we were in a runoff election. Um, that's a whole nother ball game that I would love to address one day when sitting on council, is how information is getting out. But anyway, that is when, and like I said, the number's typically low, so please come on out and cast your vote for me, to for place 7. I would love to serve again.
Which I know I gotta ask something else. You said the turnout is always low in
Mhm,
these elections, and people gotta understand that local election is so important in national elections because
mhm.
the local election is the one that set things for your city and for your county. And a lot of people don't understand that. They think I'm not gonna go vote. I don't care. But then when something comes up, like a street need to be fixed or a pothole
Taxes.
or something that come up, they can say, well, what happened? Well, if you'd have voted, you'd have know what's happening. So do you see that disconnect right there?
Yeah, it's pretty bad too. Typically, when I see people in Walmart or HEB, I ask them first. I said, "Did you know that the city was in a runoff election?" And they're like, "No, but I voted for you." And I said, "Well, you got to go vote again if you want me to win." And then I tell them where to go, and then I typically leave there and I go out to the polls, and then sometimes I see them and they honk their horn. It's heartwarming. It's just unfortunate that the information is not getting out. There's a lot of upgrades that Cibolo could definitely use. We use it's like on the side of the road, like this board that they come and change the letters all the time. I mean, nothing is electronic. Nothing is, we're in
Oh,
2025, right? We
oh,
can do a better job than that. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. We can have that too, but we need some, we need some a technology boost here somehow, some way. And maybe somebody can get a grant for that, in some way,
there
shape, or
you
form.
go. And I'm
Um,
thinking, I'm thinking we need to go back to grassroots too, knocking on the
mhm,
doors, letting everybody know because
yep,
we let this information technology just take over everything. And you got to look at it. A lot of people a lot of people don't want to be on that.
right.
And they
Hmm.
never know what's going on. So that voting block sitting out there that's untapped, the ones that don't have social media.
That's
So
right. That's
we got to
right.
figure out a way on how to tap that again and bring them back and let them
Yeah.
know.
And our charter says something about, things that we have to do to announce our elections and things like that. But I get that we have to do those things, but maybe we can do more, especially if we know that, after day 4 or 5 of voting, 300 people have showed up. That's a problem, right? So maybe troubleshooting those things, having a fresh voice on the council, fresh ideas, that I think is going to go a long way when it comes to me, because I do realize, there, even in the workforce, since I'm an HR professional, there are 5 generations in the workforce, and I have to reach each one of those people differently. I can't
Mhm.
baby boomer, I'm going to send it to you, text it to you, or that's not the way that they receive. I need to go to them and talk to them or call them,
Yeah.
and being cognizant of that and knowing how to reach people in that way. I feel like that's kind of what we're missing here in Cibolo. that fresh perspective, somebody else that can look at the choke points that they've had and maybe have a different answer, different outlook or solution.
Right. Well, thank you, Summer Brown Ellis, for helping us understand why local elections and this runoff are so important. Cibolo, early voting is happening right now. Your vote matters. Your vote matters. I can't say that one more time. Your vote matters. So let's get out and vote and let's show up. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you, Juan.
Okay.
Thank you for watching Texas in Color. Please tune in every Wednesday at 11 a.m. And please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification button so you'll be notified each and every time we go on live.